100 years later, after women's suffrage was passed by the 66th U.S. Congress, which occurred from 1919 to 1921. The 19th Amendment was ratified in the year 2020 on August the 18th, 100 years later, after women gained the right to vote. The first female president in American history is going to be elected. That would be Elizabeth Warren. The reason why women's suffrage was ratified under the 66th U.S. Congress, it's because it is woman that has gematria of 66. The 66th Congress ended in the year 21. Warren is going to be sworn in the year 21. Article 19. It is 19 in Roman numerals that equals 21 and 57 in gematria. Elizabeth Warren's birthday is on June the 2nd. Her birthday is on June the 22nd. The amount of time from Elizabeth Warren's birthday to the day that the 19th Amendment was ratified is a time span of 57 days as well as 8 weeks in 1 day. 57 connects to Article 19 of the U.S. Constitution, one of the ratified amendments. 8 weeks in 1 day means that we're going to have President Warren. It's President Warren that has gematria of 81. It is President that has gematria of 110. Now, not only did women's suffrage get ratified during the 66th Congress, but Elizabeth Warren is going to be elected by the Electoral College on December the 14th of 2020. That is a 66th day. The amount of time from the day that the 19th Amendment was officially adopted on August the 20th to the day that the Electoral College elects Warren is a time span of 110 days. It is President that has gematria of 110. This is why we are going to see a female president, Elizabeth Warren, elected in the year 2020. The amount of time from the day that women's suffrage was ratified, the last state to ratify it, Tennessee, August the 18th of 2020 to November the 3rd, the day of the 2020 election, is a time span of 77 days. In gematria, it is Elizabeth Warren that has gematria of 77 in Pythagorean gematria. This is why we're going to see Elizabeth Warren get elected. Now, on the other hand, August the 18th of 2020, the day that the last state ratified the 19th Amendment, that date numerology in 2020, notice, is a date numerology of 66. That is also the same date numerology the day that the Electoral College is going to select the first female president. The 19th Amendment was adopted on August the 26th. It is August the 26th that adds up to 34. It is November the 3rd of the year 20 that adds up to 34. Tennessee was the last state needed to ratify the 19th Amendment. It is Tennessee that equals 34. It is Warren that equals 34. It is Tennessee that has gematria of 34 as well. So that is the significance of Tennessee being the last state to ratify the 19th Amendment. I want you to notice that the Senate passed the 19th Amendment, the proposed amendment, on June the 4th of 1919. It is women's suffrage that equals 64. It is Barack Hussein Obama that is going to be the last Democratic president before we see the first female president in American history. That is the gematria of June the 4th. I want you to notice that Tennessee was the last state to ratify the 19th Amendment. T is the 20th letter. This occurred in the year 20. It is the year 20 that we are going to see the first Democratic president. Now, this is a fine ideal of a free and democratic society, a fine pillar of liberalism, giving women and minorities the right to vote down the road in 1964. It is liberalism that has gematria of 100. We're going to see the first female president, a Democrat, elected 100 years later after the passage of women's suffrage. It would be the 46th president of the United States. It is Democratic that has gematria 46. It is December the 14th of the year 20. That is a 46 date numerology. It is August the 18th, the day that the 19th Amendment was ratified in the year 20. That is a 46 date numerology. And this is why the passage of women's suffrage is going to be significant 100 years later. It is 100, that equals 74 and 38. And I believe the amount of time from it was August the 26th to Election Day, November the 3rd of 2020. That is going to be a time span of, I believe it's 74 days. So that may have been August the 18th. I have to find the right date numerology with this. Now I want you to notice something too. Elizabeth Warren is the 46th President of the United States. Woodrow Wilson was the 28th President of the United States. It is Woodrow Wilson's initials, WW, that equal 46. Women's suffrage was passed under his presidency. And that's why 100 years later, Warren's going to become the 46th U.S. President. Now, Woodrow Wilson was the 28th U.S. President. Women's suffrage was passed under his leadership. EW, Elizabeth Warren has gematria of 28. And this concludes the coverage of the passage of women's suffrage, Elizabeth Warren's birthday, and the significance of these events. Her birthday is on June the 22nd. That also adds up to 28. So definitely a lot of big connections with women's suffrage and the first female president. That is inevitably going to happen at that point in time. August the 26th was the day that the 19th Amendment was officially adopted. When you include the end date from Elizabeth Warren's birthday to August the 26th in the year 2020, time span of 66 days. August the 26th of 1920 was when the 19th Amendment was adopted. Once again, this happened during the 66th Congress. It's woman that equals 66. That would be 2 months and 5 days. Trump that equals 25. It's women that equals 25 in gematria. Notice how the 19th Amendment was ratified in the year 1920. It's 1920 that adds up to 39. Elizabeth Warren's going to be a guy from New York. It's New York that equals 39 in gematria. And this is why when you include the end day from August the 18th, I think it is, to the day that the Electoral College selects Warren, when you include the end day on December the 14th, it is August the 18th, the day that Tennessee was the last day to ratify it. I should change this to August the 26th, the day that the 19th Amendment was officially ratified. So that was August the 26th. And when you include the end day, this is 111 days. And this is going to connect with the place where Donald Trump is from. This concludes another special edition of Gematria in Numerology. Elizabeth Warren's going to be the first female president 100 years later after women's suffrage was passed.